Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today it's Manchild. Alright, so today up for review, we're going to take a look at the new Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, new Etheria HORDAK. So check it out. We get a new style HORDAK added to the Masterverse series, and in this case, new Etheria. I would think I would have went with the new Eternia line, but nah, this is fine. It works. But look at the design of this HORDAK. This is the type of design I really wanted in a HORDAK for the Masterverse series. So we already got two HORDAK figures. We got the Princess of Power inspired one. The blue one came in like the deluxe box a few years ago already. That's a really good HORDAK. It does its own thing. And of course, later on, I'll bring them in for comparisons against this HORDAK. And then we get the Revolution HORDAK, which, looked alright, but it was very limited with articulation. I was kind of really mixed on the head sculpt. I kind of wish they would have sculpted it like this with the red bloody teeth. And they didn't. It's one thing I didn't like with that figure. And I got rid of him eventually, so I don't have him anymore. But yeah, I really like the design, what I see with this HORDAK so far. He comes with a pair of wings, which is really cool, instead of the cape. And I think that goes back to like early concept art with HORDAK during the vintage days, what he was supposed to look like before they gave him the cape and whatnot. And they also added a blaster arm as well. I think that's an attachment. I don't think the arm removes. Well, once we get him out of package, we'll check it out. But really happy to finally see new HORDAK added to the new Etheria series. And here's a look at the picture illustrations on back of the box. So we see the main HORDAK figure standing up with the blaster arm attachment on. The wings are also spread out. If you notice, you can see the fright zone in the very background with the dungeon, that wooded dungeon piece. Moving over to the right-hand side, so we see the new HORDAK also comes with a Horde minion type staff. You have the minion on top that coils around. I wonder if that removes. That would be cool. It might. It also comes with the Horde, like a bad Horde shield. And then here's a look at the wings on the back. Again, that can fold all the way out or down. Then dropping down to the bottom, here's a quick look at the bio. You want to pause and read that for this new HORDAK. And these are all three figures that's included with this new Etheria Wave series. We got HORDAK, Cobra Khan, which I do have in hand, and Teela. And here's a look at the art on the right-hand side of the box, looking in from the window. And of course, here's a look at the art on the left-hand side of the box, which is just a continuation of HORDAK from the front with his wing. You can see some minions in the background, the tree on the fright zone. Okay, here's a quick look around with the new Etheria HORDAK at a package with all his accessories, or how he comes, or what parts are on, and what parts are not. So, taking a closer look at this new head sculpt for HORDAK, that's as good as it gets for Masterverse HORDAK, in my opinion. You know, the classics did a pretty good job with their HORDAK, which I'll bring in and compare later, of course. But look at that. That's perfect. You got the open mouth sculpted, right? And yeah, the semi-open position. Look at the fangs. They're actually sculpted and showing. You can see all the teeth. But they're spaced. They're not as like, they don't go all the way across like the art showed. They are kind of, yeah, they have more spaces in them from what I can see. Little, the bone sticking off the chin piece. Did a really good job on the eyes, the way they're sculpted, and the sockets recessed in. But then the red paint, the gray highlights underneath the cheeks. See all the highlights around the other parts of the face, and then you have darker gray highlights that go up to the earpieces. Here's a look from the side. And so the head does stand off the neck a little bit, but I kind of like that with HORDAK. To where like the regular Origins of the Vintage, it's just funny how low the neck sat inside the hood. To where obviously now this is a separate head from the hood. The hood is part of the armor. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, incredible. I love it. As far as the articulation with this head on the neck and the hood, you can look all the way to the left, right. You can look all the way down and go all the way back. So plenty of room, inside the hood with the head. So moving on to the armor and the hood. As I already mentioned, the hood is part of the armor. And what's fun is maybe later on we can try this armor and head on the Origins HORDAK, which I'll do, because that might be fun to upgrade the Origins. But taking a look at the armor, so you got the Horde bat facing out, sculpted outwards, or raised out, I guess you call it. Yeah, excellent detail. Just coming off the armor, it's painted, yeah, obviously red. So the armor is obviously cast in a black, I don't say metallic, it's just kind of sparkles in my light. It might just be my lights, but it's black, and then they painted the bat over it. I bring it up because if anything's going to chip, it could always be the red, but I don't see any chipping on mine. It did a really clean job. You got the row of bones going around the armor where the arms come out. You can see just it's a whole different design, but it's still reminiscent of like a HORDAK armor. You got little spaces too to show the ribs. You can see that, little cutouts in the main piece of the armor in front. You can see the trim going all the way around the back of the hood bone, right? And let's see, so flipping them around, here's a better look at the back. You even have a the Horde bat, logo raised out. And then here's the 2 plugs for the wings, which we'll put on very soon. There's no look at the hood itself, right? Just the textures and the sculpting in the back. And there's the points. And then this is how it comes off. The 2 will snap. So I'll do that again very soon. But yeah, just incredible. So let's see. Then taking a look at the arms. So they're standard Masterverse style arms. Of course, cast in that gray color like HORDAK always had. And they do look like they have a little bit of a dry brushing, like a dark gray or blackish tone around the arms. What I can see, the legs, I think anyway, in my lights, that's what it looks like. I can see it around the arm, the biceps and shoulders. As far as the articulation with these arms, the right arm with the armor, go all the way up, down, forward, back. You have the bicep swivel. You can bend the elbow all the way up to the face, which is good, in the center of the body. All right. And then you notice he has a newer style gauntlet with the Horde bat raised out, painted red. Now these spin all around. They're kind of sloppy. They're meant to like face out toward the point's supposed to face the elbow out, I believe. So they come off, which we're gonna have to do that soon for the cannon arm. And then he has a weapon gripping hand with nails, and they can spin and hinge joints. Let's see. Okay, they go in and out. Jumping over to the left side, it's all the same, but we'll test it out. So we go up. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Up, down. Yeah, that one's getting stuck. Forward, back. You have the bicep swivel. Now you notice you have the Horde band on the side, which is all messed up. Let me spin it around here. Okay, we'll get back to that. But yeah, the Horde emblem raised out, right? Same Horde band as already mentioned. I'll fix that in a second because it's stuck. And then same thing, he has a very similar gauntlet that he has on the right side. Now you notice this, you move the figure around, it's really sloppy. You got to like mess around with it. And I guess it doesn't matter. There's not a left and a right, I don't think. So if you want to put this one on that arm, on that side, it's okay. And then again, he has a weapon gripping hand on the side that can spin. And let me see. Okay, so the hinge joint goes also in and out, right? Has nails on the hands. Very flexible. Oh, there goes that Horde band. Fell off the arm. So obviously that removes too. You can slide it down. There we go. Fell right off the arm. There's a better look at the bicep without the band. I'll leave it off for now. And then as far as the waist, you have the new Etheria style belt and loincloth. Even though it's a new Etheria figure, just reusing it. It's painted or casted in it's like a metallic silver tone to match these new bracers. Pretty cool, front and back. And then you have the longer, I like to call it the 2000X style loincloth. That's what these remind me of. They're longer. That's also painted. It's all one piece, so I don't know if it's, I'm going to say that the main color is the loincloth and they painted the belt from what I can see. So again, the belt will be the most vulnerable part to chip. That's silver. But again, mine looks really good. Very flexible loincloth, front and back. Okay, I'm still looking at this figure over, so I'm talking. And then dropping down as far as the legs, so they're just standard Masterverse style legs. They do have the hip drop joints, thigh swivel. You go all the way out with a split as far as articulation. Kick forward, you go back, bend at the knee. Other legs are all the same. Let's test it out. Forward, back, right, up and down with the thigh swivel. All good stuff. Bend at the knee. Feels and looks good. And then you got the newer style, boots. So, of course, you can spin at the boot. You want to heat these up and remove them, you can. And, yeah, like again, the bat emblem logo kind of, it's raised out off the boot. But see, now you notice, here we go again with the red. Mine's already chipping here, so you got to watch that. So the boots are black as far as the kit. No, actually, wait a minute. I think they're gray. Look at that. So you have a gray part of the leg so I guess they did that. Looks like the leg is transitioning into the boot, which is cool. But everything's gray from what I see in like the casting on the leg. And what they painted is the boot black and then the bat red. So that's where your chipping is going to be. I mention this again because you see this with a lot of figures when they paint over stuff and they chip easy or they get scratches like that. Kind of annoys me, so I pointed out. So be careful with that. I got a little chipping. I already said you can spin at the boot. And then as far as the foot, you have that three-toed, looks like a mechanical foot. The new Eternia Battle Armored Skeletor had this type of foot. Somebody else did too, I think. But as far as articulation, you can go up, let me see, up, down, and you have like the swivel joint rock all around. And then, of course, the other boot and the other side's all the same. Spin. Now the paint, now here they have red slop on the black on this side. Now you actually have chipping. Let me see where else. Everything else looks good. Black looks okay. Right, spin at the boot and in the foot, same thing. Go up, down, and then rock, spin all around, rock side to side. Okay, moving back up to the head and armor. Before I put the wings on, I just want to remove the armor, the gauntlets, and of course, I already got this Horde band off the figure. Just see what the buck and the overall figure design looks like. I don't think it's nothing new, but I think it's the newer, the larger style chest that the newer Eternity figures are coming with. So to remove the armor, as already mentioned earlier, you can see two tabs here. We're just going to pop it like so, break each one. And, all right, so we got to remove the head. That's the other thing I wasn't sure of. So, okay, there's a look at the head off the ball joint. Very easy. Look on the inside. It's like actually a black rubber piece. And then the armor's going to pull her off the body like so. And there's a better look at the buck. So, yeah, you have the ab crunch, obviously. You could go forward and back and spin all around. And then the other thing is, I don't know why, let me see something, put this on. It you still have the ab crunch with the armor on, looks like. Hinders it a little bit, but you can't spin. I should have showed that earlier. Just realized that. I forgot about that. All right, take the armor back off. And then the other thing is, I'm gonna remove both hands and the gauntlets off the forearms, and we'll see what that looks like. And here's a quick look at HORDAK with all the armor pieces removed off the body. And yeah, I can see it better. You can definitely see the wash now or the overspray on the chest, the arms and legs. We talked about the articulation. There's a better look at the head without the armor and the hood on. And yeah, you can really see at certain angles the gap, how mine sits off the ball peg. I don't know if it's just my figure, but let me see if I can push it down more. That's about it. We already talked about the articulation. Yeah, it doesn't really, the armor, I guess it hinders it a little bit when you go back to hit it, but it's not terrible. And, of course, I put the hands back in. I just wanted to show one of the hands. Like, they're larger style Masterverse pegs. I removed them off camera, but for the most part, they come out okay. Then, here's a quick look at the armor pieces off HORDAK's body. So, of course, there's a closer look at the main armor itself. It's very flexible, rubbery. Look at the front and the back. We already know where the tabs go, and, of course, where the wings are going to plug in. Here's a look at the Horde band. Right, very rubbery. We already talked about the bat is painted and sculpted outward, raised out. And here's a closer look at those new gauntlets. And they look identical as far as left and right side. Very flexible. All right, moving forward, taking a look at HORDAK's weapons and accessories. So, of course, here's a quick look at those wings. That's going to go on the left and right side. Or this one's for the left side. This one's for the right, from what I can see. They're casted in like a red translucent plastic, which is pretty cool. So they're not solid. Very hard. You're not like, they're flexible somewhat, but harder plastic, not rubbery. Here's a look at the pins on the back. It's going to go into the armor piece on the very back. And of course, he comes with the HORDAK bat shield. This is the same shield that the Princess of Power Masterverse HORDAK came with, but it's red, but it's like casted. The color's a little different from what I can see. Here's a look at the straps on the back. And then here's a look at that blaster arm. That's going to plug it. So we'll have to remove the hand on the right or left side. Put this in. Right, pretty cool design for the most part. Has a larger style peg. Now, this does not come with a blast effect. However, it can take the same blast effect that Masterverse Princess of Power HORDAK blaster arm came with. So, yeah, that was one of the rare HORDAKs that the arms removed. And you could put this on the left or right side by spinning it. If we had two of them, you could put two of these on. And that's how the blast effect would go on this arm, right? And you can see with the same peg, I'm going to test it real quick. There you go. So it does plug into that. Yeah, it's a shame it didn't come with a blast effect, but that one does work if you have it, or another type of effect with this same style peg. Get that out of the way. And then lastly, there's a look at that, the new staff. So it's a silver staff with a pointy end. Very hard plastic, but mine's already warped out of the package. And then you get the Horde bat, the minion. It is a separate piece. It's a very rubbery piece of plastic. You can see the wings. Has a closed mouth, really cool sculpt. But check this out. This actually uncoils from this main staff piece. So you can just use this with or without it, again, as a weapon. Look at that. That's awesome. I guess you can wrap it around his arm if you wanted to. I didn't expect that. I wasn't sure if it came off or not, but it definitely does. Once again, taking a look at HORDAK, all arm back up. Of course, let's finally put the wings on. So this is going to be the wing for the left side. Pushing the armor like so. All right, so it snaps right in. And yeah, these have hinge joints, by the way. Go in and out, show that in a second. And then let's put the wing on the right side on. Let me see how that goes in. All right, seems to plug in all right. And there we go. There's a look at the wings on the back. Folded all the way down, at least the way I put them on. So you can close them in like so, right? Move this one out like that. That one all the way out like that. And then, of course, then go all the way up. And then here's a look at the hinge joints. The hinge joints, excuse me, go in and out. So depending on what position you want to rotate this in, you can have the wing facing out and, you know, all kinds of different positions, which is cool. You know, spin them back around. And now here's a better look at the wings. Obviously looking at the front of them. Yeah, really cool. I don't know what I like better, a cape or wings. I think both, but the wings are really neat idea to arm with this Hordak. And again, I think that these wings were, I don't want to say the original sketch concept Hordak, because that was totally different. But I remember seeing images of a Hordak that was supposed to be something in a vintage line. Instead of cape, he had wings on. I don't know if that was a custom thing or something meant to be. Maybe that's where they got some of the inspiration from. But yeah, really good idea for this Hordak. And again, with looking at him from the front, here's a better look with the wings folded in. Right, extended out like so. And then all the way up. Okay, now that we have the wings on, let's arm Hordak up with some of his weapons and accessories. So I'm just going to put the staff with the minion staff we'll call it, in the right hand. You can see he's supposed to grip it here with the little coil, you know, where it's coiled. I think he holds it better. It's pretty heavy, by the way, that. So you can't want to slop all over, and the hand's very soft. And then we'll put the shield in the left hand because it looks like it's designed specifically for that. You have the wider end here and then the piece, you know, the smaller strap where you're going to grip it. Just slip that on like so, and then you can wrap this strap inside the hand. And there's a quick look at that setup. So yeah, we have Hordak with the wings spread out. All right, shield in the left hand, obviously. The staff in the right. Put these up a little higher and articulate them in. Want to look something like that. And then I think the other thing I want to do before we put the cannon, the blaster arm, the cannon arm, to replace the right hand, is going back to this staff with the minion. So I'm going to unravel it like so. So again, if you want to use this just a weapon by itself with the point, you could. But I'm wondering if this can wrap around the arm somehow. You know how like the vintage one holds, he has a little strap hold the minion. That's what it's supposed to represent. It's more of a snake type of minion. I don't know if you can wrap it around the arm. I don't know if it's meant to do that. So I'm just kind of experimenting here. It doesn't show that in the packaging. I guess if you wanted to, you could. Let me see. Not great. Not really. I mean, maybe there's a way to do it. It doesn't seem. I thought the tail would wrap around better on the arm. It's so rubbery. If it was a harder type of plastic or a bendy wire, probably could do that. But I don't think that's what it's meant to do. So jumping ahead, you notice that I couldn't coil this serpent snake or the minion around the arm. At least what I tried. But you notice you can just hold it in a hand like that. So I guess that's maybe what it's meant to do. If you didn't want to put it on the staff. And that's pretty much Hordak holding the serpent snake or minion, right? In that hand, we got the shield on the left. Wing spread. Now the next thing. Let's put this blaster arm on. You notice that it can go on either side, which is cool. It's ambidextrous. Again, if you got two Hordaks, you can arm them with two of these blasters. And I want to make sure that the arm does not come out. So I'm going to remove the serpent piece. I just want to see something. No, the arm does not come out. Going back to what the Princess of Power Masterverse Hordak arm did. Just want to confirm that. And of course, to put this blaster in the arm, I got to remove the hand again, pull a gauntlet off, and then just snap it in. Okay, and there's a quick look at that setup. So we have the blaster arm mechanism attached to the right arm. As far as the articulation, doesn't change anything. The arm, obviously. And this can spin all around, whatever position you want. I don't know what, maybe the little red mechanism is supposed to sit up on the top, and actually there's one on the bottom too. Not sure how it matters. And we have the shield in hand, and then going back to a blaster effect, which he does not come with, but if you have this one, the other figure, you can put this in as I showed earlier. I'll snap it in like so. Wow, that's really heavy. Look at that. It like bends the whole arm down with this Hordak. But that's what it looked like with a blast effect, at least from the other Princess of Power Masterverse Hordak figure. And then, of course, there's a quick look at that blaster arm mechanism or cannon put on the left arm just to show you what it looks like. And I just put the minion back on the staff, hand and gauntlet on, and the staff on that side for something different. Quick look at that setup, move the wings around. And going back to this blaster, once again, or the blast effect, let's put it in that side. And we look like that. All right, once again, moving on with some comparisons and mixing and matching of parts, or at least what I can do. So, of course, here's a look at our new Etheria HORDAK against the MOTU Classics HORDAK, which is, yeah, always a cool looking figure. I love the Classics line. Now, my Classics Hordak had a lot of paint QC issues, various parts, just some sloppiness in the face, the teeth, the silver around on the black sections of the armor, the hood, whatnot. And he was also very weathered the way they went about his painting. I guess that's how they were intended to go as far as the paint apps, but I don't know. That's how it came out in my figure. So it was a quick look between those two. And of course, this Hordak has the crossbow, or this one doesn't come with one. He also has a really cool looking Horde staff. You can see the minion now on the Classics. This one clips onto the wrist, to where this is a rubbery type now with the snake tail. Pretty much, and of course he has a cape on the back. This Hordak, the hood piece has a separate piece from the head, and then the cape is all part of that. But the thing is, I want to see if the Masterverse parts, at least the head and the armor, fit on the Classics buck, because I always like the Classics buck design with the muscle aesthetics. This one looks really good though, and I don't know if I can get the gauntlets on the hands, because the Classics hands don't usually come off without some heat, and you got to be careful you'll snap them. So here's a quick look at the new Etheria HORDAK armor and head, right, with the wings on the Classics body. So the armor does fit on the Classics aesthetics, or the buck. Looks really cool. I slipped the minion on, clipped on that arm. Kept the crossbow in hand. The other hand shows something different, raised. We're familiar how the wings articulate. Now, the Masterverse head does sit on a ball peg. Kind of do its thing. You could put some putty in there if you want to reinforce it, but it doesn't, it fits on very loosely. It's not tight, at least in my figure, but for the most part, you can get it to work, articulate, or put it what position you want the head to be in on the Classics body. So jumping back over to the Masterverse HORDAK body with all the armor removed. Before I get involved here, here's a look at the Classics armor off the body, if you're not familiar with it. Here's a look at the cape with the hood. Yeah, mine's got, again, all kinds of scratches and whatnot on the black part. Here's the, the cape does not fold out. It's just a hard piece of plastic that's attached to the hood and painted. I think it's all, I want to say everything's red, and the red's painted over to black, I believe. And then here's a look at that's a Classics Hordak head off the body. Aside that, yeah, the armor does not fit. That's what I'm trying to get at here before we get too involved with this. So it would sit over the Masterverse buck or on it. That's what it'll look like, but you can't put these together because how wide the body is. So I'm gonna get that off there, and then I just want to show you that the hood and the cape would fit pretty cool. It look like that, but still without the armor on, just there's no point. And if you put this armor back on, it's not going to work because this hood is on this armor. Anyway, I want to show that for people who are interested. And then the other thing too is going back to the gauntlets with the Classics. Yeah, these aren't going to work without trying to remove the hands again. They're not really meant to come off. You got to be careful with them. You want to heat them up, mess around with, experiment. You probably take these off and put the gauntlets all the way on. Probably would fit and put the hand back on. Moving on, and next up we have the Origins Hordak, sort of where the Masterverse Hordak and all our Hordaks kind of originated from, really the vintage Classics, and we have the Origins, and away we go. They keep going. Anyway, I wanted to see what parts from this new Masterverse Hordak I can put on the Origins Hordak, because a lot of people like to customize Origins with Masterverse parts. Sometimes you can put Masterverse or Origins parts on a Masterverse. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't make sense, but they are fun to upgrade if we can. And I believe we could probably get the head on, the armor with the wings, but I don't think this blaster arm is going to work because it's got the larger style Masterverse peg, and the Origins have the little peg. So without drilling a hole or doing some kind of, like a customization, I don't think it's going to work. But anyway, let's see what parts we could put on this Origins Hordak figure. And there we have it, the Masterverse parts on the Origins Hordak body. They look really good and work well. The armor is a little bulky on the one side, but yeah, it works. You just gotta, sometimes these little tabs pop. But it looks okay. Now you can somewhat hold the staff, but the Origins, they have them short sculpted fingers. He somewhat holds it, he somewhat doesn't. It's something you got to play around with, but all right, like that. Just going to take it out of hand for now because it keeps dropping it. He can definitely hold the shield, which is pretty cool. The head works great, articulates well. Looks all the way to the left, the right, go down and back. But man, that's a really good look for the Origins between the armor, the wings, and that head. Look from the, we're familiar with the wings now, and see how that pops. So again, it's something you got to stretch the tab back because just their buck design is different, obviously. There we go. But pretty cool. And then, what else? All right, so we did that, the head, the wings, and then going back to this cannon arm. So as I mentioned, it's not really going to fit. I'm going to remove the hand from the Origins. Right, of course, you have these little tiny pegs where this has the larger Masterverse style peg, as I mentioned earlier, just like the Masterverse hands. They're larger, which I like these better because they're stronger. And let's see, so it can fit, you know, over the arm for the most part. Now, if you want to modify your Origins, I'm not saying do this, but if you had an extra arm, because the arms come out in these, you can always drill a hole, widen this, and this would fit perfect. Right, you could snap it on like so, or you want to make an adapter piece. It would look like that. So there is the potential to mount a cannon arm, or even two on either hand, whatever you want, with the Origins in conjunction, excuse me, with the armor and the head. And look something like that. Pretty cool to upgrade your Origins HORDAK figure, Masterverse parts if you wanted to. Okay, moving on. Take a look at our last HORDAK comparison and what we can do with mixing and matching the parts, or at least what HORDAKs have available, because I did have the Revolution one, as I mentioned earlier, getting in a video and get rid of them. So this is the first Masterverse Princess of Power inspired HORDAK, I'm going to call him, or cartoon inspired HORDAK because of blue skin. Always a great HORDAK. That, of course, this was the one with the blaster arms, I already mentioned. And go on the other side, arms come off. So it's a quick look at those two together. Most people are familiar with this one, but if you're not, yeah, you can see the head design, the armor. Now this one has a cloth cape that, yeah, somehow I don't know, stains on it. He came with the newer style crossbow, different head, and of course the body color is different. You know, oh, there's the shield. You can see same shield, but yeah, the casting's a little different. It's more metallic. This one's flat. I don't see any metallic colors, just flat, but it does have shiny, like edges all around the outer parts of the bat wings, from what I can see. Anyway, quick look at those two together, and then you know, I don't know what kind of parts we could change between the two because he has a smaller buck. And he has a larger one. Now, I'm sure this armor could fit on this one, but I don't know if this armor is going to fit on this figure. But the first thing I want to do is change the heads around, see what the heads look like on each body with the armor setups, because both heads are definitely cool and unique in their own way. Once again, taking a look at the Masterverse HORDAK body with the armor and wing still on, I put that Princess of Power Masterverse head, right, on that ball peg. I put the crossbow in hand, give him something different, and there's a quick look at that setup. That head looks really good on this body. Right, and as far as articulation, look left to right, go down and back. Yeah, pretty cool setup with that head and, yeah, the overall armor, whatnot. And then let's get him out of the way, jumping over to the first release Masterverse HORDAK. Obviously, there's the head from the new one on that body, the armor, the whole setup. Doesn't look bad. Yeah, this hood's just a separate piece from the arm. I'll show you that in a second if you're not familiar. As far as the articulation, look left to right, right down, go all the way back. You can see how it, this one actually sits down in the neck a little lower. I think I like that better. And then, of course, I put the blaster arm on the side to show you what it looks like with the blast effect in. Right? And then you can just see how easy it comes out. And then go on the other side and put it on the side. You would just spin the shoulder around like this, right, to adapt it like so. I think like this. And then this is how you put the regular arm back in. Very similar to Origins. I wish all the Masterverse did that. And I wish the Masterverse can split at the body, but they don't. Okay, so to save time off camera, I started breaking the armor pieces off the bodies. Right? So we're familiar with the Masterverse HORDAK. And to go back over to this one, for people who aren't familiar, so I removed the head, obviously. Now, the hand is an Origin-style peg with this HORDAK. I just want to point that out. It's not the larger style Masterverse peg. He has these little rubber gauntlets that pop right off. They are separate, not part of the sculpt. And he has two Horde bands on each side, but the bats aren't painted black. They're like highlighted, red, excuse me, highlighted or painted black from what I can see. But it looks like the same Horde band, I think, as this one. It's close to it. Now, this armor is, so the neck piece is it's separate from the armor, pops right off. And this has 3 pegs to hold the cape on. Yeah, I never liked that design. And this is glue, by the way, some type of adhesive on. I don't know how it got on there, but all right, it's on my cape. Aside from that, there's a good looking cape, spreads out, I like the cloth material. And this armor too, the more you pop it, the harder it is to put this back together. The gray's chipping, because the whole thing's black, I believe, and they painted the gray to red. And it pulls right off the body like that. And let me go back to the Masterverse real quick before we get too involved. Let me see. All right, so it fits over the body, but I don't know if I might be able to get these together. You know what? All right, might be able to use the cape. So let me retrofit both of these figures with the different armors and heads, and we'll come back to it. So here's a quick look at those first Masterverse HORDAK parts on the new Masterverse HORDAK body. As far as the armor, I was able to get one side on, but the other one, no matter what I do, I mean, it's close. You can get it on, but it keeps popping. So it's there, but not. And the minute you try to use the ab crunch, forget about it. It won't work. Maybe you put a lot of heat, stretch this, you might be able to get it on, but then, see, you're cracking all the paint, this light paint on everything. That was a big problem with this armor. Look at the cape. I did reverse it, see if I can get rid of that glue, and nope. All right, it's annoying. Put the blaster arm back on with the blast effect, put the crossbow in hand. There's a look at the hood and the head on. So, oh, and then I put the little gauntlet on too for something different. So just a quick look at that setup. So it kind of works, but it doesn't because it's just a little too wide in the buck to get this together without heating it up and more modifications. And even then, I don't know if it's going to hold. Then, once again, jumping back over to the first release, HORDAK with the blue body. There's the new HORDAK or Etheria HORDAK's parts on that figure or body. All right, so we have the armor, the wings, the head on. I put the staff in this hand. I did put the gauntlet in this side, put the hand back on. I put the blaster arm on this side with the blaster. Just a quick look at that setup. That's pretty cool because I always like the blue skin for something different. And this HORDAK too has a different loincloth over this one. You know, smaller chest, but you don't see it under the armor. Obviously, the arms are different. The boots are different. So your side, the colors are getting something completely different with the parts on. The head looks pretty good as far as articulation, left, right, down and back. We're familiar with how the wings work. And there's a quick look at that setup. This is show you the arm can go on the left side. Not familiar. And crossbow on the other arm. And then lastly, with the setup, let's pop this arm out. And we'll put the other arm back in. Just going to do it on camera with the, this staff. Just to show you this HORDAK with the armor, the head, two arms, different weapons, and the wings on. Real quick, before we move on, I just want to show you a difference between the bodies of both HORDAKs, why they're broken down. Again, if you're not familiar, just curious about the different sizes with the legs and aesthetics. So you can see the difference in the larger chest over this one, or the overall design. Looking forward, we already talked about the belts and loincloth. There's the posture and necks. You can see the muscles are, I want to say their arms are kind of the same. Yeah, I think they're the same for the most part, aside the blaster and the colors. Here's a look from the back. And then you notice that the legs are longer on the newer figure. It could just be the boots. Let me see. It might just be the boots. All right, I think the legs are the same. But for the most part, obviously the torsos and the ab piece is all new with these newer figures. Okay, moving on. Take a look at some other comparisons that would look good against this new Masterverse HORDAK. So once again, we have the new Masterverse HORDAK against the new Etheria She-Ra in the first release Masterverse She-Ra. So there's a quick look, or side-by-side comparison with all three of those together. And now here's a quick look with this new Masterverse HORDAK against the Classics She-Ra and the Classics He-Man. For the next setup, I brought in the Revolution He-Man with the regular cross armor on instead of the battle armor piece, which I have on another figure. And then, of course, the 40th anniversary He-Man. So there's a quick look at all three of those together as far as size and scale. So for the next setup, as far as comparisons go, once again, we have a new Etheria HORDAK against a combination of Masterverse Horde members that are more to the Princess of Power line with the Masterverse series. We have Leech, Catra, Grizzlord, Shadow Weaver, and then the new Eternia Horde Trooper in the background. Here's a quick look, and combination of all those figures together. So this HORDAK, can be the leader of all these characters if you didn't want to use the blue Masterverse HORDAK. And he looks good. He's just really big, tall. Let me get Catra out of the way so you can get a better look at the Horde Troop in the background with all those together. And then for the final set of comparisons, I brought in a bunch of MOTU Classics Horde members against our new Masterverse HORDAK. He can take control of all these figures instead of the Classics HORDAK if he didn't have them. And he looks really intimidating, not only the wings and the overall setup, but his size over all these figures. So, of course, we have Leech, right, our Classics Leech, size comparison against the HORDAK from what you can see. We got Dragstore. Got Modulock in the background. Yeah, everything's so big I can't even get everything in frame, all the figures. There's a size comparison against Modulock, excuse me. We have Scorpia, one of the females. We'll get her out of the way. We got Grizzlord over here against them. Move him out of the way. Got Mantena. Get him out of the way. We got Mosquitor, looking pretty cool. And then the Horde Wraith on the figure stand. All right, that about does it. That's my review on a new Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, new Etheria HORDAK figure. And I gotta say, he came out awesome. If they don't make another HORDAK figure in this Masterverse line, I'm good, because he's as good as it gets. You know, I could think of a couple other things that would have been fun to do, like maybe have an interchangeable cape with pegs somehow. You know, you would take those wings off and snap the pegs in place with a cloth cape and a neck piece or something like that, go around a collar. You can always customize something, but yeah, it would have been cool to go back and forth with cape, between wings and a cape, but the wings are awesome, good enough. They look great. I love the translucent effect on them, how they articulate. The armor came out really cool with the bat, just the overall style. What an excellent head sculpt. I mean, not only the design and colors, but how well it articulates on the neck and with the hood. The shield's pretty neat, which we already got once with the other Masterverse HORDAK. I like the staff with that minion, or yeah, coiled serpent minion, I'm going to call it. It's neat that it comes off, and I do like that he can hold it in his hand. I tried wrapping around the arm, but it doesn't work, which is fine. And most of all, that you get a blaster with this HORDAK that replaces one of the hands. And if you had two of these, you could put one on each hand. You know, you didn't have to remove the arm. I think that was a neat idea. I kind of wish they would have added a blast effect. They already had them made with the other HORDAK. Could have just recycled that, you know, retooled it. Maybe a different color this time. Pop it in there. You know, we don't get that, but yeah, all right. You know, they are in the market. If you have that HORDAK, it'll work in there. Should have came with a blast effect. He goes good with the classics. He mixes good with the Princess of Power Masterverse figures and everything in between because of his overall design and size. And I know that Montana and Mosquitor was announced for the new Eternia series for next year, not new Etheria. So I don't know how far they're going to go with the new Etheria line with other Horde members. But whether new Etheria, new Eternia, I'll take them. They all look awesome. And I think they work well together. Just another Masterverse figure that came out to perfection, in my opinion, as far as the Horde members and all it's HORDAK. So as always, I appreciate everybody watching. Until next time, take care.